You're listening to The Support Report with Be Present, where we share real stories from young adults and how support changed their lives.
Hey, you. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of The Support Report. We are Be Present. I am your co-host, Justin Peters, and I am joined by my amazing co-host, Chiara Riga. Chiara, how are you doing?
I'm good. How about you, Justin? How was your New Year's?
It was, I don't know, surprisingly chill. I guess like the most chill New Year's I've ever had. I ended up getting COVID a week before Christmas. So that put a real damper on all my Christmas plans. And then the whole wave of COVID came after that. And the friends that were hosting my New Year's plans ended up getting COVID the day before too. So it was just my girlfriend and I. We popped a bottle of champagne. I think we maybe drank half a glass each, watched some TV, and then went to bed. How about you?
You know what? That sounds like a great chill New Year's. I think I was asleep by 9. I am not usually a big New Year's person. My brother, I had just gotten back from a trip to Hawaii right before Christmas. And then my brother was in town for Christmas with his fiance and their dog. So I was so tired, I just fully passed out. Then I woke up on New Year's Day and I started to think a little bit more about New Year's resolutions and how to become a better version of myself this year. And while I set my own goals for the new year, it also got me thinking about how this is a great time for cancer supporters to start setting goals for how you support your friend with cancer and you make sure that you're there for them.
Yeah. I did see your blog post that recently dropped. So excited to dive into that. But first, tell me what's one of your personal 2022 New Year's resolutions?
I decided to set a word rather than a resolution.
Love that. What's the word?
Balance. Because I am the kind of person who says yes to everything and then I am constantly exhausted. So I'm trying to balance my life a little bit more and say yes to the things I want to do, but also say yes to rest.
I love that. Balance is a good one. I love the people that do words too. I want to bring that in one year too. I have a friend that does it every single year. Actually, I have 2 friends that do it every single year. And it's always like a really good, rock or foundation. If you just have a word or 2, one of my friends does 2 rhyming words, which I really like wealth and health, was one of his one time. That. So yeah, super excited, but let's talk a little bit more about the blog post. So you laid out 4 New Year's resolutions for supporters. Your first one was be intentional with my support. How does somebody go about doing that? Because as you laid out in that paragraph, we can easily forget about, with the craziness of life, forget about checking in on our friends. So how do you see that best happen?
Yeah. So life's insane right now for all of us. We are living through a global pandemic and political unrest, and we're expected to just go through life as normal, and it's anything but. And so I think the best thing you can do is set reminders for yourself. I have reminders in my phone for literally everything. I have one to feed my dog. And I'm a perfectly capable pet parent, but sometimes things slip, And so I think there is no harm in just setting a phone reminder for every other day or every 3 days at 3 p.m. to check in on your friends, see how they're feeling. Or if they're the type who doesn't want to talk about what they're feeling, do you guys watch the same show? Ask them how they liked last night's episode. Find a way to connect with them and schedule it. And I think another great way is if your friend is up for visits or even virtual visits, to have just a recurring time on the calendar. This is when we get together and this is when we spend time together. And, inevitably there will be times when they're not feeling up for a visit or to get on FaceTime or things like that. Everything's very up and down in the cancer world, but you've set aside that time now for yourself. It's blocked off on your calendar. Help them with an errand, right? You can go, walk their dog for them, take out the trash, take care of the kids so they can get better rest, anything, but just being really intentional and making sure to put time aside, set it reminders for yourself, put time in the calendar can be super, super, super helpful.
I love that. I'm a big calendar person myself, and I like to block out lots of calendar time. Even in my own partnership with my girlfriend, we do monthly date night and we schedule monthly date night. That doesn't seem really sexy or like spontaneous, but it really works for us because we're both really busy people and we can quickly find ourselves like, oh my gosh, it's been like 2 or 3 months since we've like done a formal date night. So absolutely love that piece of advice. I think it's a really, really great thing. So your second section here is balance my own needs with the needs of my friend. What do you mean by that?
Yeah. So I think, we've all had people support us, and you can tell their mind is just elsewhere. They're going through something else. They're dealing with so much. Like, you can't support someone else when you're running on empty. And so I think a really important thing that supporters should be thinking about this year is not just the needs of the patient that they're supporting, but also their needs and what do they need to show up 100% for that person. And so for some people, like, I really like to take a bath or read a book or exercise. Those are like my 3 ways to kind of like re-energize, and I need different ones at different times. But there's a ton of things, like some people love face masks or other like kind of self-care spa things. Some people want to just go for a walk and get some fresh air. Like, everyone has something different, but really sit down with yourself this year and think about like, okay, what really energizes me and what's going to help me be a better supporter? Because we as patients, as you all know, I'm a patient myself, and I don't just, I don't want people to be focused just on me. You have your own lives. And so I want you to fit support in where you can, but also focus on, feeling good for yourself as well.
Yeah, I think that's important. And obviously goes back to your general theme for this year, balance. It is very, very hard to support or give care to somebody if you're not taking care, you're not 100% yourself. So the best thing you can do for the person that you are supporting is to make sure that you find some balance so that you can show up and be present whenever you are supporting them, which goes right into number 3 here, be present with my support. I love this too. I'm actually... do you know the 5 love languages?
Yes.
Okay. And the big one for me, what are you?
Quality time.
Yes. Same.
Yep.
And quality time is, my girlfriend and I actually had to work through this a little bit because I often found her identifying quality time as proximity. And I actually had to clarify that you doing emails next to me while we watch a TV show isn't really filling my cup in terms of quality time. And as you mentioned here, it's kind of like the no phone zone or the no TV zone. It's really being present and centered and one-on-one with the person that you're with. And I mean, that obviously goes to our theme in general here, be present. Obviously we are really, really keen and focused on presence. What else do you have to say about that?
Yeah, so I think everything you brought up is huge and so important. I would also say I see it a lot in the cancer community where someone will come over for a visit and it'll be a 5-minute visit and they take a bald selfie and then they leave and then they post it on social media. And it's like the visit feels more self-serving. And so I think, honor the patient's wishes, right? Some people like, I have no problem. I mean, I'm not bald, but I have no problem with people taking selfies when they come over and like hang out and posting it. That's fine. A lot of people don't like that. And that's okay too, So I think really just letting their wishes kind of guide you in your support. And like with the no phone zone, it doesn't have to be entirely no phones. Like, you want to show me a funny meme you saw, show me. You want to show me a video you took from like some event I couldn't attend. Yeah, I want to see. But don't be like texting your significant other while you're sitting with me because you live with them or you spend a bunch of time with them and you're probably not texting me while you're with them, So just kind of think about how you want to be treated in a relationship and in an interaction and try and put that into place. You probably wouldn't want me texting the whole time you're over. So yeah.
That's very true. So back to the social posting piece to it, you encourage people or you would recommend people to ask the patient ahead of time, hey, is it okay if I post a picture of us?
Yeah. And I would kind of ask at the end of your visit and like make it a meaningful visit and then be like, are you comfortable? Like, can we take a selfie? And then are you comfortable with me posting that on social media? And then honor their wishes with that, because I think that's part of being present is understanding what their needs are at that minute, right? And so the answer might be yes one day and no another too. So I would always like, hey, are you cool with this being on social media? It doesn't need to be a big long sit down, but just kind of making it a meaningful visit and making sure they realize that this is not a visit just for social media. And then at the end, if you like really want to share it and have something important about the visit that you'd like to share, ask permission first.
And you also said 5-minute visits I'm guessing there's no quantity of time that designates a quality visit. I mean, if you're present, if you only got 5 minutes and you want to go drop off some food and really be present for that 5 minutes, that's totally okay versus being there for 5 hours, but being on your phone or watching the TV the whole time.
Oh yeah. I'd much rather someone come over for 10 minutes and have a quality 10-minute conversation with me than like text through a movie for 2 hours.
Makes sense. So last but not least here is show forgiveness for yourself and your friend. This is obviously something that we discuss a lot on this podcast. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to mess up a lot. It's having empathy for the other person. And I thought even more importantly, you mentioned in here, at the same time, you need to be able to forgive yourself as well. Can you tell me a little bit more about that and the importance of making sure that you're allowing yourself to be a learner and grow through this process?
Yeah. So if we start with forgiving yourself, you're probably going to say something wrong because this is a world that you've never lived in. We talked about this a lot on our last episode. So if you want to hear more in depth, definitely listen to that one. But for today, I lost it. Sorry. What were we talking about?
But for today, you said?
But for today, in order to forgive yourself, I think it's just really important. Like I've had a lot of people where they'll get it wrong and then they're walking on eggshells the rest, like forever while they're talking to me. It takes such a long time for them to be more comfortable around me after they've made that mistake. And I promise you, if you have apologized and made it right with me and I've forgiven you, I am not thinking about that the next time we hang out. Like it's the farthest thing from my mind, right? And so but you're bringing it to the forefront if you start talking about shying away from saying what you want to. Like we can tell when you're walking on eggshells, and if you start doing that, then that can kind of make things more difficult for us in turn. And then also forgiving the patient as well, because they are going through something that you could not imagine. They might be on steroids from their chemo and have some like roid rage episodes against you. They might say something that offends you without meaning to. They're going through something insane. And like, you think about like if someone is grieving their mother and they say something like horrible and ugly to you, it's gonna hurt, but you'll probably forgive them for that because you know what they're going through. And I would say the whole cancer experience is like that, right? I mean, if they're just being awful and ugly to you all the time, maybe reevaluate. But if there's a few times where something happens and they just really hurt you, I would really encourage you to like let those things go because they're going through much more than you could ever see or understand.
So true. I love the blog post. Thanks for posting it. If people want to check it out, obviously you can go to be-present.org. Check out our blog. This was one of the most recent, and there's tons of other blog posts out there. Our resident expert over here has been writing up a storm, so I appreciate that. One more thing before we leave, people are often asking, how can they support the cancer community at large? And you wanted to talk about donating blood. I did not realize this was a really significant portion of donated blood actually goes to the cancer community.
Yeah. So about a quarter, according to the Red Cross, of all donor blood goes towards cancer patients. This is more than any other group with any other disease. So cancer patients need a huge amount of blood, and we are actually in the worst blood crisis we've had in over a decade in this country. Due to COVID, there are blood drives being canceled left and right, things like that. So it's really, really difficult for people for a while to donate blood, but now they're back up and running, and we are in desperate need of blood. The most needed blood types are O positive, O negative, and platelets of any kind. So I would highly suggest that you go donate. Just to put this into a little bit of perspective, I was talking to a blood cancer patient not too long ago, and generally, so often we'll need blood transfusions because of low hemoglobin. Our cancer treatments will often attack our bone marrow, which will cause all of our blood cells, including hemoglobin, to go down. I was speaking to a blood cancer patient whose hemoglobin had to go down to 6 before he was transfused. Now, to put that into perspective, usually they will transfuse at 8. Mine hangs out around 9, and I physically feel it. It is harder to breathe. It's harder to do physical things. And I cannot imagine, I mean, at 6, you're not even able to walk more than a couple of steps. Like, it's really, your whole body is so physically tired. And the only way to help them out of this situation is to donate blood. So I know COVID's scary right now, but they are doing everything they can to keep those blood drives safe. So mask up and go donate blood. It is so, so, so important. And even if you don't have one of the needed blood types, still try and donate with, all blood types are needed. It's just those ones where they have less than a day's supply left.
Yeah. Would you recommend people check out Red Cross, or is there a certain place you'd like to?
And we'll put some, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
We'll put some resources in the show notes. About 40% of donated blood comes from the Red Cross. So you will probably be able to find a very close blood drive near you through the Red Cross. And then there's also one other website that I'll share in the show notes. I'm forgetting the name of it right this second. But it is to help you find your local blood banks.
Gotcha. Awesome. Super excited about that. My dad actually got me into donating bloods and donating platelets. It's something that we do in terms of quality time. It's really hard to actually be on your phone or really do anything else whenever you have both of them coming in and out of you. And my dad is religious about it too. I think he was telling me he hit the max on his donations last year. I think it's 18 or something like that for platelets.
Wow, yeah.
So big shout out to him. He's a huge supporter in that space. But Chiara, as always, I really enjoy our conversation, and thanks for everyone who tuned in today.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. We'll catch you on the next episode.